Okay.
Good afternoon. My
Hey.
name is Jim Conlan, and welcome to the latest edition of our documentary, Icons of the Sports Entertainment Industry, where we look back on iconic figures that have left their mark throughout the decades of the wrestling entertainment industry. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by a renowned guest. You might know him from back in the late 80s and early 90s. He was definitely an iconic figure. He was one of the first iconic henchmen and the first iconic bodyguards of the wrestling industry. The one and only Virgil. Virgil, and obviously Virgil went side by side with Ted DiBiase, the $1 million man,
Yeah.
what we saw on our TV screens for almost 2 decades. Virgil, if I can start
Yeah.
off by asking you, going back maybe to the late 80s, I know you're based in Memphis and you had a really good amateur career, but you started off maybe wrestling under the name Soul Train Jones. Is that correct?
Oh yeah. I I I had the name Soul Train Jones when I went down to Memphis, Tennessee. But I was a college wrestler.
Okay.
I wrestled at the University of Iowa.
Okay. And
Uh-huh.
Virgil, growing up, you mentioned college. Were you adept in other sports like basketball, American football,
No,
running?
no,
What made you go into wrestling?
no. I played 1 year of uh, college football, my freshman year.
Okay,
I did very good, you mean?
okay,
But I didn't like the college wrestling was the main thing to pay for all the books and pay for all your scholarship, you mean?
yeah,
So why mess that up?
that's true. And Virgil, in terms of college, in terms of that sort of scholarship, what were you studying at the time in terms of college?
I was a math major.
Okay,
I got straight A's in collegiate math. I could teach statistics, uh, statistics, calculus, and trigonometry.
okay. And Virgil, in terms of was the intention really to go down that sort of maths career? Did your parents want you to become a maths teacher,
Oh
or were
yes,
you?
my father was one of the the beginning of the Navy SEALs. They're called frogmen. He
Okay,
was in World War II, and both my older brothers were Navy SEALs 30 years.
okay,
So I went to visit Annapolis, and my old man got a whiff of that. He almost went buck crazy, man. You know what I mean?
yeah,
He said, "My you was down to visit Annapolis." I said, "I don't want you to go a goddamn where." I had a bunch of meetings with Dan Gable. Just take your ass to University of Iowa. He said we got okay. He said we got 3 out of 3 home right now. Okay, as a SEAL, you never get 4 out of 4 home.
okay.
Yeah.
And Virgil, in terms of
Uh-huh.
wrestling in the championship wrestling and based in Memphis, Tennessee, you sort of your first match in the WWF was against the late great Paul Orndorff in
Uh,
1986, and it's so iconic that we mentioned this today on the day on this week on the sad note of Paul's passing.
AK Paul was a great guy, man. He helped me out so much. One of the greatest workers out. You know what I mean? And I just seen on the WWE thing that he's no longer here.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's something else because he was always a great guy.
Hmm. And Virgil,
I wanted to say all of them.
yeah, and Virgil, you were wrestling under the name Lucius Brown then, and it was really in 1987 that the Virgil character came about. And was there some talk with Bobby Heenan in terms of developing that sort of character?
Okay, that character. the Virgil came out because Bobby Heenan came out with the name. Okay, he was trying to put a hit on Dusty Rhodes as was Virgil Runnels. Okay, and then when I went to WCW, they came out with the name Vincent. Okay, it was like a hit toward Vince McMahon. You mean?
Okay.
I'll be the punching bag, but then they say, "Damn, this guy's pretty damn good." You mean?
Mm. And I suppose Virgil, in those early years, working with sort of Ted and being his sort of a sidekick, what was that sort of experience like? He must have spent an awful lot of time, an awful lot of years, 360 days a year, traveling all over the United States, going from city to city, and you must have created a great bond in those early years.
We did, man. We not only traveled from state to state, we traveled from country to country. Because Sally, you're from Ireland.
Yeah.
Are you from Ireland?
Yeah.
Dublin? Or
no, the west coast of Ireland, down near Clare, Galway, Cork, that
okay,
direction.
we worked in Dublin, and what's the Northern Ireland city?
Okay.
What's the biggest one? The northern, way up north.
Belfast.
Okay, Belfast.
Yeah.
We should Belfast, and sometimes we did like this. We did an afternoon show, a 12 o'clock show in Belfast, and the evening show, it was started at 8 o'clock in Dublin.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But their money was the best, man. It was 2.2 to a US dollar.
Okay.
I mean, if you came, the pounds, the fuck money pounds was great, man. Mm. And the money was great in England.
And Virgil, you were probably the first iconic sort of bodyguard, the first sort of iconic sort of henchman in the sort of WWF, and you left the sort of a standard for those for people to sort of follow in terms of what is the ideal sort of henchman or a real sort of powerful sort of ego sort of maniac, which sort of Ted DiBiase's character was.
Yeah, I showed what the real bodyguards do. Okay, they got I am the real deal. I had to guard the bodies, and I did a great job.
Yeah, and Virgil, in terms of, you came close actually once to becoming heavyweight champion actually in the WWE. You had a title match against Bret Hart on November 21st, 1992. So was that really one of the sort of highlights of your memories in the time in the WWF, that event?
Oh yeah, Bret Hart is a great worker. He reminded me of his father, Stu Hart. Okay, but I could have been a Hart boy. You mean?
Yeah.
Because me and Bret had a great match. You mean?
Yeah, it was truly iconic, and I suppose Virgil, in the time you went to WCW, the NWO, there was a time where you came in where I believe Charles Wright, the Godfather, was supposed to be joining, and they had a character assigned for him, and he didn't join, and you joined, and you sort of took over that role. Is that correct?
No. When I got called by the WCW,
yeah,
from Ted Turner, okay, but the real story on that was Turner called Hulk, and Hulk told him about me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Virgil, in terms of joining WCW and working in the sort of NWO, did you almost feel like you were going from one henchman to another henchman, but this time it was a sort of a group sort of fraternity? Did you feel it was sort of different, or did you enjoy your time in the WCW as much?
Oh yeah, WCW was good. Like the original 5 guys were Nash, Hall, Hulk, Ted DiBiase, myself, X-Pac. That was the top 6. We were the 6 of them.
And how did you feel?
It's WWF made me, WCW paid me.
And Virgil,
that, right?
And Virgil, some of the time as well, in your time you were a manager as well. You managed Ernest DeCap Miller in terms of that as well. So you experienced.
No, that just happened. That was just happened one time. That was only a one-time thing.
Okay.
And I couldn't even remember that time.
And Virgil, you actually went back to being a maths teacher then in the late sort of 2000s as well. And did you feel at that time that you'd sort of left wrestling behind, or were you still active?
I went back to Central Catholic in Oakland. That's where I went to school at. You know what I mean? And going through my mind saying Harvard. You know what I mean?
And Virgil, in terms of the independent circuit and traveling all over the world for the last sort of 30 years as well, do you feel really blessed to have lived the life that you've seen all the countries that you've been in?
No, I got to tell you one thing. My new video game's coming out, okay?
Okay.
You got to go and get that game. You got to go get that game.
And Virgil, you might tell us about that video game. What's the title of it?
Okay, what's the game called? It's called Meat Sauce Madness.
Meat Sauce Madness.
Yeah. It's the best game you can ever have. It's so easy to play, and it's so much fun.
We'll definitely take note of that, and we'll make note of it to all our viewers and listeners. Do go out and check out and do buy copies of Virgil's new computer game as well. And Virgil, in terms of a young boy growing up and obviously following wrestling and having that sort of love for it, do you feel you've fulfilled all your dreams? Looking back, are you sort of proud where wrestling has taken you?
Yes, I'm very proud of it, because it took you all over the world, okay? It's still taking you, because like I kept myself in pretty good shape, okay? I never drank, I never smoked, I never did none of that crap. You know what I mean? And a lot of my friends are long gone now, because they made the wrong decisions, you know?
Yeah.
So I kept myself in real good shape, you mean, and keep on ticking, right?
And
like old newspaper.
And Virgil, lastly from me, what would you like to say to all your Irish fans that followed your career, that might have seen you in person, that might have been there for autograph signings? What would you like to say to them?
I'm glad that you came to see me, and I hope you can always come to see me if I'm ever at an autograph signing or a sports show anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world. If you see the name Virgil up there, come see me, please.
On that note, an absolute pleasure talking to the one and only Virgil there, the iconic sort of member from his time in the WWF and the WCW, was the first iconic real bodyguard of the wrestling business entertainment industry, and truly one of the iconic sporting figures in terms of the entertainment industry. Virgil, thank you for taking part in our documentary today. We wish you all the best in future endeavors, and no doubt your computer game will be much anticipated success as well. But for the moment, Virgil, take care, God bless, and stay safe.
Okay, thank you, okay? And take care of yourself.
Cheers. Take care, Virgil.
Jim?
Yes?
That was awesome, by the way.